देवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदारयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today we are reading from Canto 10, the Samam Bonam, chapter 8. The Lord Krishna shows the universal form within the mouth, from slokas 21 to 31. So sloka 21. After a short time passed, both brothers Rama and Krishna began to crawl on the ground of Braja with the strength of their hands and knees, and thus enjoy their childhood play. Sloka 22nd. When Krishna and Balrama, with the strength of their legs, crawled in the muddy places created in Vraja by cow dung and cow urine, their crawling resembled the crawling of serpents, and the sounds of their ankle bells was very charming. Very much pleased by the sound of other people's ankle bells, they used to follow these people as if going to their mothers. But when they saw that these were other people, they became afraid and returned to their real mothers, Yashoda and Rohini. Sloka 23rd. Dressed with muddy earth mixed with cow dung and cow urine, the babies looked very beautiful, and when they went to their mothers, both Yashoda and Rohini picked them up with great affection, embraced them, and allowed them to suck the milk flowing from their breasts. While sucking the breast, the baby smiled and their small teeth were visible. Their mothers, upon seeing those beautiful teeth, enjoyed great transcendental bliss. Sloka 24. Within the house of Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd ladies would enjoy seeing the pastimes of the babies Rama and Krishna. The babies would catch the ends of the calves' tails, and calves would drag them here and there. When the ladies saw these pastimes, they certainly stopped their household activities and laughed and enjoyed the incidents. Sloka 25. When Mother Yashoda and Rohini were unable to protect the babies from calamities threatened by horned cows, by fire, by animals with claws and teeth, such as monkeys, dogs, and cats, and by thorns, swords, and other weapons on the ground. They were always in anxiety, and their household engagements were disturbed. At that time, they were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy known as distress of material affection, for this was aroused within their minds. Sloka 26. O King Parikshit, within a very short time, both Rama and Krishna began to walk very easily in Gokula on their legs by their own strength without the need to crawl. Sloka 27. Thereafter, Lord Krishna, along with the Balarama, began to play with the other children of the cowherd men, thus awakening the transcendental bliss of the cowherd women. 28 Sloka. Observing the very attractive childish restlessness of Krishna, all the gopis in the neighborhood, to hear about Krishna's activities again and again, would approach Mother Yashoda and speak to her as follows. Sloka 29. Our dear friend Yashoda, your son sometimes comes to our houses before the milking of the cows and the release the calves, and when the master of the house became angry, your son merely smiles. Sometimes he devises some process by which he steals palatable curd, butter, and milk, which he then eats and drinks. When the monkeys assemble, he divides it with them. And when the monkeys have their bellies so full that they won't take more, he breaks the pots. Sometimes, if he gets no opportunity to steal butter or milk from a house, he will be angry at the householders, and for his revenge, he will agitate the small children by pinching them. Then, when the children begin crying, Krishna will go away. Sloka 30. When the milk and curd are kept high on the swing hanging from the ceiling, and Krishna and Balarama cannot reach it. They arrange to reach it by by piling up various planks and turning upside down the mortar for grinding spices. Being quite aware of the contents of a pot, they poke holes in it. While the elderly gopis go about their household affairs, Krishna and Balrama sometimes go into a dark room, brightening the place with the valuable jewels and ornaments on their bodies, and taking advantage of this light by stealing. Sloka 31. When Krishna is caught in his naughty activities, the master of the house will say to him, "Oh, you are a thief," and artificially express anger at Krishna. Krishna will then reply, "I am not a thief. You are a thief." Sometimes, being angry, Krishna passes urine and stool in a neat, clean place in our house. But now, our dear friend Ashoda, this expert thief is sitting before you like a very good boy. Sometimes all the gopis would look at Krishna sitting there, his eyes fearful, so that his mother would not chastise him. And when they saw Krishna's beautiful face, instead of chastising him, they would simply look upon his face and enjoy transcendental bliss. Mother Yashoda would mildly smile at all this fun, and she would not want to chastise her blessed transcendental child. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kiran Prabhuji. Yeah. Sri Krishna Prabhu, when are you ready? You can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sundaran Prabhu. Thank you, Kiran Prabhu, for reading Srimad Bhagavatam today. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambuditamaham Prapadye Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girum yat krupa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So in this section, Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating about how Gargamuni is basically is the chief priest for Nanda Maharaj. But then when Gargamuni says that he being a chief priest, if there is an elaborate celebration about naming ceremony for Krishna, and obviously Kamsa might identify, and therefore he says it's not actually recommended. But then Nanda Maharaj says you can secretly chant the mantras, Vedic hymns, and then do this process. so Gargamuni naturally he reveals who Krishna is to Nanda Maharaj. So he says Krishna is not an ordinary child. He is as good as Narayan. And wherever Krishna is, there will be all protection. So you have to raise this child very carefully. And he also says how Krishna is also called Vasudeva because he has appeared in previous yugas as son of Vasudeva. And also Krishna, he says about Krishna's appearance that he has appeared now in a Shama Sundar form, in a blue, blackish blue complexion. But in the previous yugas, Krishna has appeared in the white complexion, red complexion, and also yellow complexion. So sometimes actually the Sri Vaishnavas they question how is that in the Krishna's deity form is in the white color. So this is the answer basically. If you go to most of the temples in India, South Indian temples, so most of the Vishnu temples, the Lord Vishnu is in a blackish complexion. But in ISKCON temples, we do have Krishna in the white marble deity form, and which is here Gargamuni is saying that he has appeared in the Sukta, Pita, and Rakta, like white, red, and yellow in the complexion. So, and then he also says that he appeared as Lord Ramachandra as in the color of Suka, parrot, and now he's concluding. Sukadeva Goswami Gargamuni concludes saying that Idanim Krishnatham Gataha. So all of so now at this moment he has assumed this blackish complexion and he'll be called Krishna. So so now and then Gargamuni leaves Nanda Maharaj quarters, and after that Krishna started crawling. There is some beautiful pastimes explained by Sukadeva Goswami here. So let's just dive into some of these pastimes. So, so after Sukadeva Goswami mentioned about how Gargamuni instructed confidential details to Nanda Maharaj was very much pleased. So he is obviously feeling all good fortune and so much ecstatic. So now after some time, now both Rama and Krishna. So we call Balarama because of strength of Rama. They also call Balarama, but generally here we can see they both mentioned as Rama and Krishna. So they both began to crawl on the land of Vrajabhumi. So this was in Gokul. Generally we can see when the babies crawl, it's a beautiful scene. They kind of drag their feet. It's the first moment when the baby started to tumble around and crawl. It's always very beautiful to watch. And what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, who has all the charm and potency and beauty, mesmerizing potencies. So obviously Rama and Krishna, they were so enchanting and beautiful. The whole Vraja was, everyone were enchanted by their beauty. And this pastime is being attractive for so many Vrajavasis. They were when they were crawling, and because Nanda Maharaj is a cowhead and he has so many cows, and there was always cow dung and urine and there's so much cow footprints. So they were crawling in all of those such places, and when they were when their ankle bells. So basically, when you see the small babies, they kind of identify the mothers by looking at their ankle bells, and then they kind of follow the ankle bells. So similarly, Rama and Krishna, they are also following Gopi's ankle bells. Sometimes that's not Yashoda, that's somebody else. But then the gopis enjoy this so much, they pick up Rama and Krishna. And sometimes when they see the actual face of the gopi, they see, oh, it's not actually Mother Yashoda. And then they return to their original mothers. This is the pastime that Sukadeva Goswami is explaining here. So and also the how the mixed with their when they were crawling the earth along with the cow dung and cow urine when it's mixed, and they were looking so beautifully, and Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they kind of in the Vatsalya Bhav, they were picking them up with great affection, and they were feeding the milk. All this beautiful pastimes, Mother Shukadeva Goswami is explaining here. So these are all transcendental pastimes. There is no tinge of any passion, ignorance, or even goodness. It's purely transcendental. It's such beautiful pastimes where Krishna is experiencing that Vatsalya Bhav between Mother Yashoda and Rohini, and also the gopis. So here we can see. So after the Gargamuni left, here we can see that Kalena Vraja Vraja Tat Pale Tat Talpena Gokule Rama Keshavaha. So here the Lord Krishna is addressed as Keshava. So both Rama Keshava, both Balram and Krishna, Janubhyam. So by the strength of their knees, now they have started crawling. So this is this childhood pastime here. We can understand that one Brahmana says that Shrutim apare smritim ithare bharatam anye bhajantu bhavabhitaha aham iha nandam bande yashyalinde param brahma. So he's basically saying that let others fear the material existence and they worship the Vedas, Puranas and Mahabharat, but I am going to worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard the Supreme Lord was crawling. So this was the meaning of this verse. So we can understand that the impersonalist or Brahmavadis, for them to merge into the Brahma Jyoti could be Kaivalya, could be the highest existence. But then for devotees, they are when they are seeing how in the Nanda Maharaj courtyard the Lord is performing such beautiful pastimes, and these for them observing in these Krishna Leela or pastimes is basically is more than it's already the Kai Prabhupada is saying that one is always in actual Kaivalya. So as long as one is absorbed in thoughts of Krishna Leela, especially Krishna's childhood pastimes, one is always merged in actual Kaivalya. So this is, the actual Kaivalya is basically to observe yourself in the thoughts of Krishna's pastimes, which is what Prabhupada is trying to point out. So, and then he's saying this is the reason why Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. So Lokash Yajananta Vidvams Chakre Satvata Samhitam. So this is the reason on the instruction of Narada Muni, Vyasadeva compiled, because he wanted to give this Krishna's pastimes and then let everyone be absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna's pastimes. So and then Sukadeva Goswami goes on and then he elaborates how Krishna and Balaram from the childhoods there's so much in attraction towards their mothers. When they were crawling, they were all. It is mentioned specifically that they were looking at the ankle bells and crawling. So so when Lord is always is the finest being in the whole creation, and for him love and affection is more important than anything else. Like he is more personal than anybody else. From that perspective, the Lord always sees the personal angle, whatever he does. So even in his crawling, he is crawling towards gopis and looking at the ankle bells of people. So we can see there is always an exchange of personal touch when the Lord's dealings, and we can see here also that how he started chasing the mothers by just looking at their ankle bells. So and then when Krishna was crawling, all of this, the cow dung, the dust and the urine and everything, when they're covered with such the dust of Gokul, they were looking such beautiful. And Mother Rohini and Yashoda were pouring up such affection towards them. So here it was saying, Pankanga Raga Ruchiro Upagrayo Durbhya. So here, whose beautiful transcendental bodies were covered with muddy cow dung and urine. So it's just one word Sukadeva Goswami is reciting. Dattva sthanam prabidbato sma mukam nirikshaya. So there were such smiling, faces with small little teeth, and it was looking so attractive, and their mothers were enjoying so much. And what kind of attraction? Pramodam. It's a transcendental bliss, basically. So something which is completely out of this world. So, and then in the house of Nanda Maharaj, so all of this pastimes, all of the, in the Nanda Maharaj courtyard, there are many, many gopis. They come and do some seva, they work. So, Nanda Maharaj is also the king of all the cowherds. So, naturally, he would engage a lot of the gopis in some services that they would come and do in their house. So, they were all enjoying baby Krishna and Rama. So this was a famous pastime that comes in the little Krishna also, that when Krishna and Rama, they kind of hang on to the tails of small calves and then they go on for a big rides. So this is very enjoying scene that the gopis would witness, and they would smile. And because of these pastimes, the complete Vrajavasis, it was mentioned here, they stopped everything else and they were only looking at Rama and Krishna, and they were enjoying that particular pastime, the particular Leelas. So it was Hasantaya. Hasantaya mean they were laughing, and they were, the Hashya is one of the rasas that they, in relation to the Lord, we can enjoy. So here, so this particular pastime of the Krishna and Rama holding the tail of baby calves were mentioned. And then Sukadeva Goswami also elaborates how that in the transcendental aspect there are mixed emotions. So even in the spiritual world, there are anxieties, there are but it's spiritual anxiety that it's but the actual emotions are exhibited by devotees are all in connection with the Lord. So similarly, so Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they were also sometimes in anxiety that they could not protect Rama and Krishna. There were animals, with claws, and there were monkeys. There were cows with their horns, big, big horns. They were always in anxiety that, sometimes Krishna and Rama could be hurt by some of these animals or weapons. So this kind of anxiety, it is mentioned here as transcendental ecstasy. So we can understand that anytime we take anxiety for on behalf of Krishna, it is not really anxiety. Sometimes from outside perspective, it might look like just a normal anxiety, but it is completely a transcendental ecstasy. um, and this is within alam manosha anavashtam. So this was basically disturbing their equilibrium, and this is completely transcendental. So and then Prabhupada explains here that how Lord Brahma also explains Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabis Tabir Yayeva Nijarupa Taya Kalabi Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So the Lord Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. So he was basically he was the reservoir of all the rasas. So now that same Lord Rama and Krishna here giving so much transcendental bliss, and even through this so-called anxiety in the transcendental world, Prabhupada also says there is crying and there are other feelings similar to material world, but actually purely transcendental. So, so the reality is in the spiritual world, all these qualities, but it's in the material world what we see is a reflection, right? So, and then Sukadeva Goswami goes on. He goes on to explain Kalena, Kalena Kalpena. So Rajarshe. So after some time, Rama and Krishna they started walking in the Gokul. So now, by their own strength, they started walking with their little by little, and this was very beautiful. Again, all of the gopis and Brajavasis were enjoying this pastime also. So in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, so they started playing with the other children, and this is where the gopas also getting the association of Krishna and Rama, and they are getting the transcendental bliss. So all of these gopas, they have done so much pious activities in previous lives, kruta punya punya, by the mercy of the Lord and by their pious activities, they're able to get this association of Lord Krishna and Rama, and they were able to play with the Lord. So such again, Saharamo Vrajas Trinam. So here also it says that along with the Balram and all the and on the all the ladies of Vraja, they played very happily. The cowherd men. The and then the verse number 28. Krishnasya Gopya Ruchiram. So now they're very attractive pastimes. All of the gopis in the neighborhood, they were hearing about what was Krishna's doing today, what did he do. They were completely absorbed in these pastimes, and then they would speak to themselves, what did Krishna do? And then they would approach Mother Yashoda and then they will tell, oh, Krishna did this today, Krishna did that. So they were exchanging. So this is basically Krishna Katha being exchanged. Katayanchascha mam nityam tushyanti ja ramanti cha. So they were enlightening one another by the pastimes of Krishna, and they were getting such transcendental bliss. So these were all activities, so of Gokul. So we can see, they would do the household activities, but then the core of their activities is centered around taking so much transcendental bliss. The household activities doesn't feel any burden for them because everything is connected with Krishna. Similarly, when we do household activities, when we keep Krishna in the center, it doesn't feel that stressful and boring. Otherwise, the household activities alone is very difficult for a grahastha, right? So here Sukadeva Goswami goes on and then he says that how um, now Krishna and Balaram Rama started walking. They are going to different houses, and now Krishna he's Makan Chor. So he likes butter and curd and yogurt so much, milk products. So now Krishna started stealing this butter from so many gopis, house of gopis, where his favorite devotees reside. So here Krishna, see, he is making so many plans. He's planning with along with his cowhead boys, Balram, Subal, and all of them. And then he makes plans. He goes into the houses. Then wherever they could find butter, milk, and curd, they would eat sumptuously. And then Krishna also distributes them to monkeys. And when the monkeys are full and they would not take anymore, then they break the pots. So this was the pastime that mentioned. So now when there was no curd or butter in any of the houses, then Krishna actually would pinch the babies and the babies would start crying, and the mothers were complaining all this to Mother Yashoda. So Krishna is also mentioned as the Bilo Mangal Thakur sings in one of the songs in Vraje Prasiddham Navanita Choram. He says that Krishna is the greatest of all thieves. He is basically is the famous in Vraja as the butter thief, and he also stole gopis' clothes, and he But anyone who takes shelter of Krishna, he could steal all of your sins that have accrued for many, many lifetimes. So beautiful song that Bilo Mangal Thakur says. Vraje prasiddham navanita chauram gopangananam chadukula chauram अनेक जन्मार्जित पाप चौरम चौराग्रगम्यम पुरुषम नमामि. So this Krishna, who is Vraje Prashiddham, he is so famous in the Vraja as a butter thief, and he can actually steal away all your sins if you take shelter of him. So that Lord Krishna, as a baby Krishna, he's basically whichever gopis or his wonderful devotees, he's trying to give this transcendental bliss by taking milk products from their house. So when Krishna was devising plans, the gopis were actually also devising plans how to protect the butter and curd. And instead of keeping it, very much visible, they were trying to hang it on the top so that it's not visible. They're keeping the room very dark. They're closing all the windows, keeping the room very dark. But then when Krishna, Balram, and other Gopas enter, so when Krishna, Balram has such ornaments which were so much in giving so much light and in the darkness that by their jewels everything is visible. And then they were able to see that okay, the pots are actually on the top. They kind of pile up some plank holes and then planks, and then they climb on the top. They take all this butter and curd, and then they started distributing and eating. So this was the pastime that Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating. By this pastime, so the Krishna is giving such transcendental bliss. So when the gopis sometimes they come to Yashoda and they complain, and then as soon as they see the face of Krishna, they would just forget about everything, and they started looking at Krishna's face and getting some transcendental bliss. So Sukadeva Goswami is also elaborating, and he's saying that Mother Yashoda, basically after hearing all this complaint, she would also just smile and just look at the gopis. Basically, the gopis come to Mother Yashoda's house in the disguise of complaining. They want to see Krishna, So she also understands the fact, and she also smiling. So this was the relationship between Mother Yashoda and the gopis and Krishna. So all of this are completely transcendental, and to understand this, we have to become much more purified and understand the Krishna Tattva. Like Sukadeva Goswami elaborated the whole 9 cantos to make us understand who is really Krishna is. So now that Krishna, who is the source of all creation, now he is doing such wonderful pastimes. So Prahashita Mukhi, so they were smiling and enjoying, and Upalabdham, so rather than chastising and threatening, now they were smiling and enjoying. So here also is very beautiful verses. Sri Bayanayana Sri Mukha Alokini Bi. So they were gopis were enjoying Krishna's beautiful face, Sri Mukha. And then while complaining also, they were smiling and they were enjoying. So this is how the pastimes Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating. Hare Krishna. This concludes the last verse for today. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vranta ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatrubhyasya kripa sindhu bhyaye vachaha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. You are singing
Krishna.
very nice, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
So
Krishna.
beautifully done. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.